Hi, welcome back. I'm Jaimee Rose, and I am the principal designer and owner of Jaimee Rose Interiors in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm here with Brad Levitt.
I'm Brad Levitt with AFT Construction, and we're a luxury builder here in Scottsdale.
And today we are going to show you Project Blow Your Mind, which has been blowing our minds for 5 years. It has 3 buildings, 13 bathrooms, 9 bedrooms, 4.5 kitchens.
And you're gonna see why it's called Project Blow Your Mind.
Watch me get it live.
As you mentioned, there's 4 acres here. We have the amenities from a lazy river to a play pool. I mean, there's essentially 4 pools to the whole swimming system. And then we have the entertaining area. We have the trampoline barn, you know, the tennis court, the baseball field, half-mile of sidewalk for kids to ride bikes and scooters around, and then the whole garden area. So there's a lot of amenities here.
Well, first of all, the sheer scale of this project truly blows your mind, and there's no other way to describe it, and hence the name. But it's special to me because we truly got to design things that no one had ever seen before. That was what the client asked for us. She said, I want plumbing fixtures, hooks, I want things I've never seen before. So we took inspiration from travels, from sinks I saw through the window at a restaurant in London, and then they all came true in this incredible house that really does look like something that no one has ever seen before.
Sitting here in the great room, just the ceiling alone, like you have 360-degree glass. So to get fire sprinklers and lighting, electrical in the ceiling, to manage the scale, right, from the entire property, from the grounds, right, the landscape, the pool, and how that, you know, you're still 4 acres, but based on everything that's here, it's fairly limited with how much, you know, product we have on site. So there was just a lot of coordination and a lot of vision, and so it's special to us because there was 2 years of design, 3 years of construction. I mean, there's a lot that went into it.
I don't think either of us had any idea from those initial meetings what this was going to be. Yeah. And I don't know if the clients did either. They never said, like, I think that she told me she wanted like a 10,000 square foot house, and obviously it's more than double that. So no, nobody knew. It just grew and grew and grew, and the clients were like, what about this? What about that? What about this? And then it kind of snowballed into something pretty spectacular.
I mean, we actually had a different property here in this similar subdivision that we were actually going to build a home for. And as we started working through design and layout, the configuration just wasn't working based on what they wanted to do. Again, the house was much smaller at the time, but as this property was acquired, it still changed, because even first phase, there was plans to have 2 properties where we're at in lieu of the one that's here now. And so the project definitely grew over time. And
they just kept adding lots. They would buy like, oh, we bought another piece of property that was adjacent. Oh, we're adding another building. I mean, so it just kept growing. Won't be easy, but it might be worth it. I don't know. High maintenance, high return. What would you say?
Yeah, worth it in the end. I mean, it definitely was, you know.
Stay with me.
Yeah, stay with me.
Stay with me.
Be patient.
My favorite space is all of them. I love them all deeply. But to me, the craft room of all the places I love so much because, first of all, it's this really peaceful, neutral room, but it's the room that I don't have in my house and few women have in their house, but it's like this dream. You could walk in, you could wrap a present, you could paint, all of your creativity could come loose in this space, and it's a whole room with beautiful light, a corner glass windows, to really be conductive of all that creativity.
We're sitting in the great room, which is probably from a contractor's point of view my favorite. I mentioned the complexity with this space, but this entire room was built with structural steel. So as we're going vertical, you know, we have neighbors coming by asking if we're building a charter school, right? Because you see just the sheer size and complexity of this build. And there's something about construction when you see the welding and structural steel going in. Maybe it's just that blue collar side of me that really enjoys to see that aspect of construction. And then when you mix in these amazing finishes and the sheer size, and people walk in, it's like the wow moment every time someone comes in this room.
The floating ceiling I really, really love, and it didn't come to us that way architecturally. And so my team and I actually rendered it in 3D, and we're like, no, 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 we mean like this, like 360-degree glass. So it's really fun to see that come to life.
I would say our WTF moment was the baseball field. People walk in and they're like, you did what? You have a wiffle ball field? It's something no one's ever seen. And so when you see that under construction and you see the drone shots, I think that's probably the biggest wow factor when people see that just what it looks like from that, bird's eye view up above on the property.
So for me, the biggest wow moment, or how in the heck did we ever pull that off moment, is the powder room sink. You've never seen anything like it. I, however, saw something kind of like it through the back window of a restaurant in London. I took a photo of it. It looks nothing like that, but it was cantilevered steel and marble and like this old sink, and we really riffed on that to create something that is more than the sum of its parts, and I really love it. And I think it was really hard, and they probably are going to throw me in the pool later.
It actually wasn't too bad. Fortunately, we do a lot of integrated sinks. This was a very unique design, but it definitely was layered and sequenced how we had to construct it, think through it. There's a lot of thought behind it. And, there's just that's one of the unique things about this project. There's so many unique details that we really had to, spend some time thinking through. But I think from the expected side, as the project grew in scale, we had a pretty good understanding of like the complexity of the amount of trades and manpower, supplier coordination, and just the thought that we'd have to do behind the scenes, to plan this. So I think that was fairly expected. The unexpected part was building just after COVID is when we started. So you're dealing with now limited manpower, limited resources. I know early on when we're working through the heavy structural component, there's limited manpower. And so you're trying to work in a room of this size, you need a substantial amount of people, and we're limited crew size.
For me, the most expected challenge was definitely time. It took longer than anybody ever thought, except for maybe me. I maybe knew. And it still took longer. The most unexpected challenge was definitely all the changes that were coming from the client throughout the process. We redid this kitchen like a year ago, and that was really not expected and hard. But they wanted what they wanted, and we were here to make that happen. So the client brief for this project was first industrials. They loved industrial buildings, they loved Napa farmhouse look, but that changed in the middle to an old house made new. And it's so funny because the very first kitchen design plan I ever showed them was the one we ended up with, but there were 3 more in the middle. So when I told her that, she's like, did you see this like plaster wrapped cabinet idea? I'm like, I did see that, and so did you. 4 years ago, I showed you that. But we did end up with it, which I'm happy about because it looks great. But it was always a mix, and I think the project really reflects that interesting mix. And then by the time the ending was here and we were doing furnishings, it was very much an old house made new. So we brought a lot of vintage pieces in to add a lot of patina.
But I think from a builder side, you have the board form concrete, and it's a really technical install. When you look at board form concrete from a builder perspective, when we're looking at this, we had the basement wall, right? The staircase goes around that in the basement. You have it here at the entry. We have it there in the guest room too, and also the tennis pavilion. And also on the back patio, there's a few places we have that board form concrete, and it's very technical. There's not many concrete companies that can do that the right way to make it look right. It was just a really neat design element that we knew going into it, that we had to have the right contractor, the right weather at the time, and make sure it was done properly and formed correctly so we didn't have blowout with the concrete. So definitely some challenges, but that's part of the design aesthetic.
We didn't make it easy. In fact, the copper pipe running over the mirror was something that we were so in love with, but the plumbers were like, I'm sorry, we don't understand. You want what? I'm like, I want you to go to the plumbing supply store and get hose bibs, and then we're gonna make them into faucets. And they're like, this lady, she is cuckoo. But the way that AFT figured out to do that was really smart, because then there was a risk of burning hands on that exposed copper. So the water actually comes in through the faucet behind the wall, and all the exposed copper that looks like it's supplying the water is decorative, which is pretty brilliant on your part. So furniture was another fun challenge because the clients have a young family, they want to have many grandkids, and they wanted furniture that wasn't precious, that they didn't have to worry about, which meant, for the most part, replaceable. But they really did love the idea of bringing in some antiques or one-of-a-kind pieces, and there's a teak root coffee table that is one of its kind. It grew from the earth in the master bedroom that I think is pretty special.
So something that's really unique about this build is we worked with Ketra lighting. And Ketra is a really advanced lighting system. It's part of the Lutron, family. And so as you walk through this home, you'll see these special can lights that are all designed. And what's unique about these can lights is they're all wired and programmed individually. And what's neat about Ketra is that not only can it be any color of the lighting spectrum, any can light, and it's programmed individually as well as together, but it's also any lumen, right? Any Kelvin. So from a candlelight to super bright, whether white or yellow, it can match the natural light outside. So at 10 a.m., it could bring that same natural light as if you're outside. You can do it at 5 p.m., so that circadian cycle. So from a lighting perspective, it's very advanced, the way we mapped it out and had that design. From a builder side, we really like the challenging. We like to be pushed. We like to think outside the box. And I would say every single room in this house, there was just a lot of thought behind it. And so it really challenged us. It's pretty rare that you get a home with a lazy river and a baseball field and tennis court and the trampoline barn with the skate park. I'd say in the 5 years we've worked on this project, it's really forced us to revamp our software, how we document the process, how we do our punch list. I think that automation of building and managing costs and schedules has totally changed. So I know that today, AFT's more set up for success and a better builder, just haven't gone through this.
This is definitely the most insane project that we've ever worked on. Most fun, most challenging, and certainly the largest, but also truly got to flex all the creative muscles we had. Anything we could think of, any idea, any inspiration, we were able to implement it into this house. I mean, in the bath 17, or maybe bath 10, I think there are 12, like even the towel hook we designed. I mean, so that's the level of customization that we were able to implement here. To have a house that shows your creativity inside and outside, because we did work on the outside as well, is pretty special. And then for the clients to trust you through the whole process and really commit to all those crazy designs that you came up with, from exposed copper pipes to triple stacked bunk beds, is pretty unique and was an amazing challenge and opportunity. Cool. Let's do like a quick fire, fun Q&A, 15 seconds, 5 words. Favorite thing to show your kids?
Oh, it's easy, it's a trampoline barn.
Rose and thorn. Rose, being in the lazy river with my team, that was real fun. Thorn, the third kitchen. We designed it 3 times.
Favorite bathroom?
Pool bath.
Wow, I like the pool bath, that's a good one.
Favorite bathroom?
Powder bath.
Oh yeah, that's really my favorite too.
Yeah. Favorite kitchen?
Favorite kitchen, there's 3.
There's kind of 4.5 really.
I know, I
If
love.
you count the butler's pantry.
Yeah, 4.5 kitchens. I like the light fixture in the game room, but the best kitchen is the main kitchen. Your favorite kitchen?
I actually like the game room one a lot. The thorn to me is thinking of kitchen was this one, because this changed on me. So that became, we had cabinets in production and changed, so that became pretty complex.
Let the record show I'm not the one who changed it. Rose, best thing.
I have to say the end result. I mean, Jaimee, you crushed it. I mean, I look at the furniture. I mean, you walk through in this wow factor to really take this design and bring it to what it is today. It's true talent.
Thanks, Brad. Should we go jump in the pool now? We're done. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining us for Project Blow Your Mind. Like, subscribe, all the things. We're so glad you were here.